I'm Anil Kumar, and here is question number 8, Introduction to Trigonometry. A surveillance camera is mounted on top of an 80-meter tall building. The angle of elevation from the camera to the top of another building is 42 degrees. The angle of depression from the camera to the base of the same building is 32 degrees. How tall is the second building? Now, this is a very common question in most of the test papers, so I'd like you to go through it very carefully. You can pause the video, answer the question, and then look into my suggestion. Now let's begin by sketching a diagram, and then we'll try to solve it. So what we are given here is that a camera is mounted on top of a building. So let us say, let me make this as a ground level. Okay, now so we have camera on top of a building which is 80 meter tall. So this building is 80 meters tall. The angle of elevation from camera to top of another building is 42 meters. So from here, if I make an angle of elevation of 42 meters, I can see the top of another building. So that is how the question is designed, right? So we have 42 degrees right there. That's the angle of elevation. Angle of elevation is always measured with horizontal. Now the angle of depression from the camera to the base of the same building is 32. Now angle of depression is also measured with the horizontals. Remember that part. Sometimes the students might make that mistake, right? So this angle is also with the horizontal, and this angle is 32 degrees. You get the idea. So that is how your approximate figure is. How tall is the second building? So what we really need to find is the height of this building, the total height, correct? So that is how the question is. You can still pause the video, answer the question, and then look into my suggestions. Now let me label my diagram. Let's say this is C, this is A, and this is B. And let's call this point as D. Now height H for us is AD plus DB, right? That is the height. We can find AD using the smaller triangle and DB with the help of the bigger triangle. Now let's see how to solve using the bigger triangle AD. So if the angle of depression is 32, then these are 90 degrees, correct? So that becomes a transverse line. So the angle B will also be 32 degrees. Do you see that? Let me call this point as E now, correct? The base of the first building. So these are two buildings. This is our building 2. And here we have building number 1, correct? So if you consider the triangle CEB, in this triangle we are given that the camera is placed 80 meters above the ground with angle of depression of 32. So that makes this angle as 32. These are alternate angles between parallel lines, correct? So therefore they are equal, right? Now solving this triangle, we can find EB. So you know the angle, opposite side, you want to find adjacent side. So you should be using tan of 32, right? So tan of 32 degrees is equals to 80 divided by EB, right? So we can say EB is equals to 80 divided by tan of 32 degrees, correct? So let's use the calculator and find the answer. So we have 80 divided by tan 32. That gives you 128.02. So let's write 128 meters, right? So EB is 128. So let's write 128 here for the time being. That is EB. If EB is 128, that means CD is also equals to 128 meters, correct? So the length EB and length CD are same, right? So that is also 128 meters. Now we can find AD from the triangle ACD. So let's solve the triangle ACD now. In triangle ACD, we know that CD is 128. We need to find AD. That is the side opposite to 42. So let's use tan again, right? So let me just partition this a bit. So we have tan of 42 degrees is equals to AD divided by CD. So from here, AD will be equals to CD times tan of 42 degrees, right? CD we just calculated as 128. So we'll use 128. Normally we should use decimal values so that we can get accurate answer. Times tan of 42 degrees, right? So let's multiply. So we already have 128.026. Let's use that number. Times tan of 42, which gives us 115.27. So which is approximately 115 meters, right? So I'm rounding them as we move along. Okay. So AD for us is 115. Now we know what dB is. dB is 80. Since dB, let me write here itself, equals to CE equals to 80 meters, correct? So these lengths are known to us. Now we know AD also. Therefore, the height of second building is equals to, which is AD plus dB, right? We can add these two, 115 plus 80 meters. You can use calculator. 5, 8 plus 1, 9, 195 meters. So our answer is height of second building is 195 meters, right? So that is how you can solve this question. I hope that's clear to you. Thank you and all the best.